We got a guest here, Dr. Jay Feldman, rocking from Tampa, or I guess across the bridge from Tampa.
The better part of
St.
Tampa.
Pete. I'm just getting this right. I learned that's like Fort Lauderdale, Miami. You don't. That's not the same thing. It's like Orange County and Los Angeles. It's not the same. And Jay, I'd love for you to just really quickly tell your 90-second story. I'll tell mine, and we'll dive in and tell some. We'll ask some questions.
Sounds good. What's up, guys? I'm Jay. If you haven't already followed me at CMO Jay Feldman or Dr. Jay Feldman, I have a very interesting past. So I went to medical school, did a year of training studying to be a family medicine doctor. During that time, got really involved in the marketing space. Started a marketing agency during my second year of medical school that evolved into what it currently is today. So I currently run a PR firm, Otter PR. We're the #1 ranked firm on Clutch and G2. We've got 55 full-time employees, and I'm sitting right here in our beautiful 8,000 square foot building down here in downtown St. Pete. So I'm the operating CMO and co-founder here right now, and excited to jam with you, Nick. I had you on my podcast here about a week ago, and we talked for a little over an hour. So I'm excited to ask you some questions that I didn't get the chance to poke at. I try to get real creative, so I'm looking forward to it.
Guys, I can vouch. This man has a beautiful office, a fantastic view. So we were very happy to come up there and share some stories back and forth. So, what I'll do is I'm going to share my story. I'm going to tell everyone how we met real quick. So I'm going to share my story first. For those of y'all that don't know me, I'm Nick Sarnicola, Grand Rapids, Michigan. Originally, I live in Miami now, father of 2, but just come from a very blue-collar, middle-class upbringing. All 4 grandparents worked at the same factory, dad, uncles, brothers. I wanted to be rich one day, found entrepreneurship, got rich by 25, made my first million, started a company at 26. I ran for 15 years. We did a couple billion in sales, 19 countries. Got bought it back, got bought again. We're bought by a publicly traded company, almost spun out to become our own publicly traded company, shut that down the week before the IPO. I mean, the craziest ride of success and failures and joy and pain and laughter and tears that you could ever imagine. Became a decamillionaire by 34. And yeah, I've got a company now called Catalyst Group, and we focus on sales acceleration. It's okay. You're good. We love you.
Jacqueline back here, our social media manager.
Hi, Jacqueline. I got Lee right here. She's on the other side of the camera, though. Just doing sales acceleration, and away we go. Let me tell you how me and Jay met. He's actually one of my – you meet a lot of people networking. And you meet a lot of people just, randomly at just different events. But you and I met super randomly.
Super random. I love this story.
Yes, I was walking into my own condo building, and I could tell there was a party going on. And I always know if there's a party going on, it's either at my penthouse or my neighbor's penthouse. Abe, it's one of us. I knew it wasn't me. So I just hopped on the elevator, and everybody was going up to my neighbor's penthouse. I just rode it into his place. I messaged him, like, where are you at? He's like, I'm not there. There's a party at my place. I'm like, yeah, there's a party at your place. He's like, I'm going to kill that mother effer. So he was talking about his nephew. So his nephew was throwing us a party at his place. I was at the place and was hanging out. I met Jay. I met these 2 young, smart, good-looking doctors. I'm like, God, how the hell are you all doctors? Why are you 2 good-looking to be doctors? And then they started telling me a little bit about their entrepreneurial path. And everyone's like, we're out of alcohol. What do we do? I was like, you're not out of alcohol. Follow me. Now, there's a back walkway that connects the 2 penthouses. So we went down the walkway to my penthouse. I unlocked the door. We took all my alcohol, went back up the walkway into his. It's an emergency exit. We literally snuck in through the emergency exits of the 2 penthouses. And that's how the relationship was born. I'll kick it to you for a second on how – this isn't the first question, by the way, how then we got reconnected, because you actually reestablished the reconnection.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I vaguely remember getting to your penthouse, but as soon as we walked in, my jaw hit the floor. I'll never forget walking in and looking around and seeing all the cool art, just super open floor mat. It was actually inspiring. I was like, this is the bachelor pad that I need one day. And I was pissed I didn't connect with you. Immediately I asked what you did, and you told me about challenge.com. I'm like, this guy's the man. I got to connect with him. And it must have been a few months later, my other friend, Dr. Jarrett, also lives in Miami and is a doctor, sent me a video of you giving a talk somewhere. I'm like, oh my God, this is the guy. And I reached out. We made the connection after several months. And here we are, baby.
This is the guy with the drinks. So the moral of that story, everyone, is you never know when a random occurrence and a random just chance happening can turn into a really cool relationship. And, Jay and I are just really starting our business relationship. I had a chance to come out, like I said, a week ago to do his podcast. I said, let's get you on a 20-minute showdown. So for time's sake, I'm going to hit you with the first question. Most important question. And the first question, it pisses me off. Why are you so good looking and making me look so bad on my own 20-minute show? No, just kidding.
I gotta pick a new question. Shit, I did this wrong.
He's like, I thought this was going to be deeper. All right, no, so that was just that's just called a pattern interrupt. All right, so here is my first question. You're actually a unique guest that I've had. Most of the guests I have are not from higher education. Because they're entrepreneurs that dropped out of college. They're entrepreneurs that finished college and said, what a waste of time. You get the idea. You are clearly a higher education. We know that because you have initials in front of your name that aren't MR, and you have initials at the end of your name that aren't JR, right? And when you have initials at the front and the back that aren't MR and JR, that means something. So as a person of higher education that is now, transitioned into entrepreneurship, I think it's a multi-part question. What drove that decision? Do you regret the decision / did you make the right decision? Over to you.
I'd say what drove it is probably my upbringing. So come from a nice Jewish family. From a young age, my grandma was always in my ear. My mom was always in my ear. Jay the plastic surgeon. And I do not come from a family of entrepreneurs in any regard. My dad was a CPA. My uncles are doctors. So this is probably a good path where you're going to have a bright future financially and a career that has respect. That's what got me interested. I worked in the emergency room, enjoyed it. And then I'd say once you actually get into the practice of it, it changed a lot. And I wasn't having fun anymore. I wasn't enjoying it once the learning was over. Now, do I regret it? Sometimes. And I always wonder what life would be like if I skipped that 8 years and I didn't go to college and I went straight into business. But at the same time, I don't know if I would have had the same success in business if it weren't for my track record in medicine and in higher education. And also empowered with the best knowledge ever, which is the knowledge of medicine, what's happening to our body. And I think I learned a ton of valuable stuff there. So I don't regret it. But I do recommend anyone who's going to that path to make the decision sooner rather than later to cut the cord and go do what you're passionate about. Sorry for the long answer.
No, well, you actually saved my ass because the AirPods,
audio situated. Yeah.
They completely cut out. So I don't know if you heard the echo. I turned up the laptop so I could catch some of it. If you were to ask yourself a follow-up question to your fabulous answer, since I missed the answer, what would your follow-up question be to that answer? Go a layer deeper.
I think the deeper layer is when do you stop once you realize that it's not the right decision? And a lot of people come to me on Instagram and elsewhere saying, listen, I applied pre-med. I'm about to start medical school. I got in. Some of them are coming to me. I'm 2 years deep. I've already invested $100,000 in my education. Some of them are coming to me. I've been in practice for 5-10 years and I'm miserable. What do I do? You seem to have escaped. You did it. And I mean, the advice for all of those people varies a lot. Because telling someone to give up medical school and go be an entrepreneur, I don't know if I'd feel comfortable telling my own son that. So how can I give you that same advice? So it would be, I'd say if you're in medical school and you're halfway through, finish. If you're in practice and you're miserable, every day is just a wasted day. I think you did it. You're there. It's not a fit for you. It wasn't a fit for me. And you should cut the cord and go do something else. But if you're just going through second guessing yourself during the educational process, that's normal. You put in all that work, time, and money to get there. And if it's a 2-year window to finish that horrible process of medical school, or that 2 years or 3 years of training, go ahead and do the years and then make that decision for yourself.
Well stated. I think between you and I, we single-handedly helped hundreds of students drop out of college, maybe thousands. No, I think what you're saying applies to not just med school, applies to any higher education, right? It applies to somebody getting the master's in finance, or somebody that's going through law school. My business partner of now 23 years, I convinced him and he convinced himself to take 1 year off from college before he started law school to see if we could make this little business work. And that 1 year off changed his life forever. He never went to law school. He graduated magna cum laude, double major, 3 years from the top 6 university, never went to law school, became an entrepreneur, and became a top marketer and company brander really in the world. So great answer. And I hope everybody took something from that. Feel free to participate, by the way, if you're in the comments there. What's your opinion on education at the collegiate level, on higher education, how it applies to entrepreneurship, how it applies to being a solopreneur? We'd love to hear your opinion as well. Go ahead and sound off in the comments. I'm ready. Hit me with your first one.
All right. You ready for the first one?
Yes.
Ooh. Over the past year, I think we've seen a lot of businesses and entrepreneurs get involved politically. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are politically charged. They have strong views. What is your opinion on the role of entrepreneurs in politics and in their business? Is that something that they should attack, should avoid? And if you are going to attack, is there a way to do it correctly?
This is a really, really, really great question. Holy cow. So I think it's super contingent upon the nature of the business from a business perspective.
Right.
From a personal perspective, you always have to follow your truth, your calling, your path, right? So it's like, if your truth and calling is to sound off about something and to stand for something, whatever that something is, it doesn't matter to me. Then at the cost of your business, you must be prepared for that, right? My stance has always been, it doesn't matter to me who's in government. I'm going to go do what I need to go do and what I want to go do to go create something. And I've also always been in leadership, and leadership has always had to transcend politics, because I've always been leading people of all political perspectives, from the far left to the far right. Like, my last company had the most far left and the most far right that you can imagine. The most wild, fun, crazy individuals, and the most God-fearing Christian reform individuals you can imagine. And I had to lead all of them, right? So I was always in a stance of, there's 3 things you didn't talk about. Politics. You didn't talk about politics. You didn't talk about sex. You didn't talk about, I don't even remember what the other one was. Wow, what was the last one?
Religion.
Religion. Thank you. Sorry. So politics, sex, and religion. We just didn't talk about those 3 because as a leader, you're leading people of all religions, all beliefs in sex, and all beliefs in politics. Now, that's just me though. So I'm gonna go the opposite stance on my stance and say, okay, if you're going to go lean into politics as an entrepreneur, you better be damn ready to be a niche business owner, and you just know your niche is going to serve that particular demographic, or that particular party. Only, unfortunately, because we are now in a place of intolerance. We're in a place of, you either are on this side and we don't like you, or you're on that side and we don't like you, which is complete just insanity. And it's actually a byproduct of social media. If you guys, if you haven't had a chance to, there's a documentary by a bunch of people that help build the algorithms for YouTube, Facebook, etc. And again, I made the suggestion before. Do you remember what it was called? The Social Dilemma. Go watch The Social Dilemma and watch how the algorithm is meant to just put more information in front of you. That's all it's meant to do, because that you like. So it's going to put more information in front of you that you like faster, and that's all it's going to put in front of you. So no balance. Because if it does that, you'll stay on longer. If you stay on longer, they get more advertising dollars. If they get more advertising dollars, they're worth more. So it's not like they're trying to divide the country. It's not like they're trying to create 2 opposing parties. It's accidentally happening as a byproduct of revenue generation through social media by way of the algorithm, right? So, long rant, say, you better be prepared to lose 50% of your customers if you are going to dive into politics very heavily opinionated politics as a business owner or entrepreneur. But do what's right for you as a human being. Follow your path. And for me, my path is, I don't know what y'all are arguing about. My ass is just going to go try to figure out how to be successful, be happy, have fun, and create a great lifestyle for my kids.
I'm with you. Totally agree. That's all we have control over, really, in the end, is what goes on under our roof.
You got it. You got it. Question number 2. So you're in the business of brand. You're in the business of marketing. You're in the business of creating voices, etc. In this very noisy time frame, and also it's probably the other way around. In this really desperate time of requiring brand development, creating your voice and creating a distinction there, what are 1 to 2 tips, or how important is that? And then number 2 is, in this noisy ass world of brand development, how do you cut through the bullshit to find, truth and expertise? Jay, would you be offended if I cut you off for 1 second and asked you to rejoin StreamYard? I think we lost you on StreamYard. No problem, because nobody wants to lose this answer. And for those of you guys that are out there on IG and actually still with me over here on Facebook and the rest, please feel free. If you've got follow-up thoughts, you got follow-up questions, what's your opinion about entrepreneurship and politics, etc., feel free to sound off. Put it in there. Let it go. So Jay Riggs said, lost him right in the middle of an awesome answer. So we'll have him back here. He's coming back right now, y'all. No big deal. So I put
All right.
the stream, I think.
Looks like we're back in.
You're back in the game.
All right. Starting from scratch, personal brand is more important than it's ever been before. I think if you want to stand out from your competition doesn't have a face. It doesn't have that you trust. Am I still going in and out, or am I okay?
You sound okay to me, but I can hear you on Instagram. I got you muted on Facebook.
Okay, cool. We'll keep going. In order to be an expert, in order to be the face of your brand, you need to become the best at your craft and then get really good at delivering that content and deliver all of your knowledge for free online. If you're on YouTube searching for anything related to PR or B2B, business scaling, AI, lead generation, you're going to see my videos. And a lot of people who are searching for public relations, they're going to get hit with my ads. They're going to get hit with my content. So if you want to stand out, I think the best way to do it is become the face of your business, become the expert, build trust and social proof around yourself, and then your company will gain that social proof in return. So the best ways to do that are do really good work for people, get genuine testimonials, get genuine social proof from other trusted sources, such as an endorsement from Sarnicola, an endorsement from Gary Cardone, an endorsement from Forbes, do a TED Talk, companies that people already know, like, and trust. You get endorsement from those people and you're going to have a much easier time cutting through the noise and standing out. And then creative. A lot of people get really lazy right now with their advertising, with their content. Learn that. And if you can do good creative and give real valuable advice, you're going to stand out.
And how important is it on a scale of 1 to 10 that you build a individual brand alongside of your product, service, company, etc.? How critical is it?
I'd say a 9, especially because business is changing so fast right now. Your business, your current product, your current service might not be in existence 5-10 years from now, even 1 year from now. I mean, things are getting disrupted.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna keep talking to Instagram, the team here. Gang, I don't know if you heard that last answer, but he said that you must build a brand because your industry might not exist in 5 years, 3 years, or 1 year. I have not actually heard that as an answer ever in terms of why you should be building a brand. I just hear people say it's really important. You have to do it. You got to stand out. You got to this, you got to that. But the fact that you stated your career might not exist, therefore, what stands the test of time is your voice and your brand and your content. That is a very powerful and fascinating answer. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course, I think it's more relevant now than ever. Disruption is changing every day, and the only thing that is going to last is your personal brand, and it's exponential. It will continue to grow as long as you can maintain relationships like this and continue to give value.
You gave one. I'm gonna do a sub point here. You gave one good brand hack. Give us one or two more personal brand stuff for those folks that are, maybe just getting started at it or just struggling to put content out. Give us a couple more.
So if you're just getting started, it's really important to figure out what you do and who you help and be as specific as possible. And then call that out no matter where your personal brand is displayed, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I am a Facebook ads expert and I serve gym owners. Be very specific and that audience will exist and they will migrate to you. And then create content around that niche. And do it for a year before you give up, say that nobody's looking. Your first pieces of content are going to suck. And if you can leverage relationships with already trusted and followed people and publications like Forbes, like Entrepreneur, it's going to expedite your success. But what you do, who you serve, make content in that field as an expert for at least a year, and then do it in a professional way and network and build relationships with people in your field.
I love it. Something tangible, something juicy, something we can apply. I told you guys in 20 minutes, you guys are going to have something you can leave this Zoom with, or not the Zoom, but this live with, and you can immediately put into practice. So for those of you guys that are just joining us or you joined us late, you are on episode something teen of the 20-minute showdown. We got Dr. J. Feldman of the St. Pete area, and we're just sharing thoughts back and forth, punching each other with 3 questions. Over to you, Dr. J. Hit me.
Okay. This one's not so much about business and entrepreneurship and marketing per se, but I think it'll be really helpful for a lot of entrepreneurs like myself out there who are struggling with this decision. You've been married, divorced, you have kids. I would love to hear your advice for young, successful entrepreneurs who are not currently married, who are listening to a lot of the noise out in the conversation in this community about why get married. It's just going to be a liability down the road. If you could go back, would you do it differently? And what would your advice be to young, successful entrepreneurs who are not yet married?
This is a heavy one. Dr. Esther Perel. I think everybody needs to go follow Dr. Esther Perel. And I can't remember the name of her best-selling book. She is a leading practitioner of sex therapist, family therapist, relationship therapist, #1 in the world. So Dr. Esther Perel, I think y'all should look her up. But a couple thoughts on this. Technology has changed everything. Both for the positive and the negative, right? My parents just celebrated their 50th anniversary, and that was done 2 or 3 days ago, I think, was their 50th anniversary. And my grandparents, who were passed away over the last couple of years, they were married 73 years, I think. So 50 and 73. You know what they both have in common is none of them had access to social media, digital technologies, etc. And I think if anyone is going to remain in any serious relationship, let's call it marriage and beyond, I think everyone's got to have shared social media, period. I think you have to have shared social media. And again, I'm generalizing. There's always 10% that don't apply to this. And the reason why is there's just too much out there in every direction all the time. If you wanted to be tempted in 1974, you had to work, bro. You had to work like there's no email. You weren't calling the house. Like you were passing like little handwritten notes. I don't know. Like you had to work. And right now it's just too much, and it's everywhere, and it's excessive. And I think if it's something that's going to last, whether temptation isn't just physical, you could be following somebody who is just like, wow, this is a more powerful voice in my life, and I'm more aligned with their values. I'm more aligned with what they say. I'm more aligned with what they share. Like, it's not just that girl's hot or that guy's hot. I'm talking like it goes way deeper than that. The mind connection, the spiritual connection, it's accessible now to a billion people. So I think it is required for a relationship that's going to last for a very, very, very long time is shared social media, period. So that way, if anything happens that's coming inbound, the other person has access to that, right? Now, I think what we're going to see is a series of a shift in relationships. I just think we're going to see a shift in relationships, and here's how I think it's going to happen. I think you're going to see a large percentage of long-term marriages that last for a very long time. Right now, that's below or at 50%. So I don't know what that becomes. Is it 33%? Is it 25%? Is it still a thing? Absolutely. Will it still work? Of course. Should it still be done? Yes. All those things. But I think you're going to see a large percent of the population, especially Gen Y and Gen Z, it's going to be a series of shorter term, very powerful and time specific and time applicable relationships. And I think it's going to be 5-year bursts, 7-year bursts, maybe 10-year bursts. And the world is different, right? I mean, you have to go watch Esther Perel's, her whole history. And when you start to really understand the history of marriage, that marriage is really about endowments and is about keeping the wealthy. It wasn't about what it is today. It was about picking this prince and this princess, and that's what marriage was created for. Now it's different, right? It's just different. So, maybe happiness for you at the highest level is 3 20-year relationships. I don't know. It's like powerful, or maybe it's 5 10-year ones, right? Would I change in?
It's clearly different now than it was for our grandparents. Very different now. But the institution of marriage itself and the agreements that you're signing during that process have gotten stricter. And how do you handle that? How do you look at that as a young man or a young woman approaching that societal expectation? What would you do differently? What would you tell your kids to do?
So it's back to the last question. I'm going to answer. Would I change anything? No. Do I regret anything? No. It was the greatest 10 years of my life. It was amazing, right? And myself, my ex-wife, have a fantastic relationship. We co-parent at the highest level, but most people aren't able to do that because they lack emotional intelligence, right? So I think if you're in marriage and you have children, it's not going the way you want it to. What's worse for what's worse than divorce for children? 2 extremely unhappy parents, or 1 extremely unhappy parent, right? That's going to be worse for 2 children growing up in a household that lacks love and connection and interaction. Now, second part was you said that the things that I think both sides should think about what they've done professionally and successfully and protect themselves from a legal perspective, whether that's mutual, my brain went to mutual non-disclosure, mutual prenuptials, whatever that mutual prenuptial looks like, right? That should never cross anybody's mind. And here's why. A woman now is equal in desire for success in career, desire for success in wealth, desire for success in building something. So she should be protecting herself as much as the male used to protect themselves in terms of a prenuptial agreement or idea. No one's asked me that on the 20-minute showdown, Jay.
Hey, it's increasingly important now. It's something I think about in my everyday life.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a healthy long-term relationship right now, but in my opinion, like, why sign that contract? Why involve the government in my relationship? Why open myself up to that? It's a contract that you really don't need to sign to get involved with somebody. Obviously, there's some legal and tax benefits, but I found more and more people my age at where I am in life kind of looking at it the same way. So it's a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, and I think there's ways to go be married without the legal contract. Like that's an agreement between you and your higher power and her or him. And that's how y'all approach it. Whether or not you want the state of whatever to recognize that, I don't know. That's up to you. That's up to each individual. But fantastic question. I guarantee you, this question right here is as relevant right now. And we're on the precipice. People that are over 45, and I'm 44. People that are over 5, they are not ready for this dialogue at all. They don't want to. This is like the school system conversation. Like, people don't want to talk about that college is going away. Like, people don't want to talk about that college as it stands right now doesn't stand a chance 15 years from now. So, heavy topic, Jay. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for answering. I know it is a heavy topic, and I appreciate you. All right, I think it's time for my third question.
Yes, sir. Oh, sorry.
Yep. You asked.
Yeah, I was clicking comments and sharing. I'm the DJ over here as well. So this one's not as deep, but it's very useful for everyone, no matter what their walk of life is. And I usually go towards this direction for someone. As a person of success, now you've been successful in business, you've been successful at school at the highest level, right? Like, you're the top 1 of 1%. From a scholastic perspective, and also in a business perspective. So what does it take to freaking make it at anything? It doesn't matter. Give me 3 characteristics that are non-negotiable. They're absolute musts. It's something that you can't even you can't think about going forward without, if you're going to make it in success. Period. What are they?
So there's that conversation about, like, how much of it is innate? Like, are you born with some of the skills? And I think you are. So the first one is going to be a tough answer, because I think a lot of people aren't born with the ability to learn as fast and to self-motivate and to figure things out and be curious. Maybe that's robbed from them at a young age. I don't know. But I was blessed that I was able to kind of achieve at that scholastic level. And even during my time in medical school, able to balance things and start the business and pivot and make that decision. Obviously a little bit of an anomaly there, but whatever you can do to keep your curiosity, to be a free thinker, I think is going to give you a superpower in this world. And there's ways to practice being a free thinker, questioning mainstream narratives, questioning what your parents are telling you, questioning what your friends are doing, and really asking yourself, is this the right thing? Is this really the path to success? Is this the path to happiness? And I've done that at every stage in my life, sometimes a little bit too late, but I think that's caused me to make massive shifts in my life when needed. So stay curious, become a free and be a free thinker. Now, I don't care how smart you are. Nobody's making it through medical school if you don't have insane work ethic. So everything that you can possibly do to develop a work ethic, and people get all freaked out about work ethic. I got to wake up at 6 a.m. I got to go take an ice bath and meditate for 30 minutes. It is not that. I don't do most of those things. Work ethic is the ability to self-motivate, to get what needs to get done, and do hard things and make hard decisions. And it's a muscle in your brain that you can train just like you train any muscle in your body. It's fighting that little voice in your head that says, just sleep in. Don't go to the gym. You went yesterday. You can eat that cupcake. Every time that you beat that little voice, you're flexing your muscle. You're going to the gym. So it's a building block of years and years of doing that. And eventually you build that muscle to a point where it's not even a question. Like, getting up to work for 12 hours on a project in my business is easy. Now, the third thing that a lot of people probably aren't going to like is the ability to say no and really prioritize. So I haven't met a single person who's successful that is partying every weekend, that is hanging out with a bunch of losers. And it's really easy to get sucked into a life where people are trying to suck you into doing things that are counterproductive. They don't want to see you succeed. And it's very easy to fall in line and go to the bars with your friends, hang out with people and smoke weed on the couch. I know most of the people that I grew up with, that's what they do. That's what their life was all through college. And it takes a special kind of person to see what's going on and to say, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather sit in my room alone and watch this course and learn this new skill and practice this new skill. So it kind of goes with work ethic, but it's the ability to be comfortable saying no, be comfortable being alone, be comfortable losing friends, be comfortable maybe even not having friends for a certain point in your life. And that's something that I think has been a key to my success too, even through medical school. I spent an entire summer studying for the MCAT.
Oof.
All my friends were out partying, doing trips. I stayed at my grandma's condo for 3 straight months and studied every single day for 12 hours a day. And I didn't have any contact with anyone except for my grandmother. And that's not something that a lot of people have the discipline to do. It's a lonely world, but I don't know if that's a skill, but I think it's necessary.
Number one, you must be a free thinker. That's never been said before, by the way. I've asked this question to everybody because everybody has their own framework of success and how to get there, right? Nobody has ever said you must be a free thinker. Number two is you must have disciplined work ethic or work ethic with discipline. And both of those are a little bit different. One's working your ass off. One is also disciplined to, have the right habits, etc. And number three is to be able to say no to and sacrifice the things that you enjoy or love or like. So great answer. And we got, you got a lot of great feedback here piping in through. In fact, there's like 600 people watching this. I don't know if the entire country of India is just in love with you. I don't know what just happened, but we're blowing up here. We're huge in Japan. All right, I'm ready.
Someone shared this twice, I think. I've seen the numbers go up to like 300 and then 600. So I think we're doing a good job.
We're killing it.
You ready for your last question?
I'm ready for my last question.
I think everyone's gonna like this last question. Before I ask the question, I'd like to preface. I'm an agnostic. I'm kind of a man of science. I went through the school system. I think there's a lot out there that we don't fully know or understand, and our ability to comprehend and interpret the world as a human is extremely limited. So my question to you is, first, what are kind of your religious views, your views on faith, and how has that impacted your success and your journey as an entrepreneur? And do you think it was important?
I actually just got asked this one a week or two ago, so this is good. I feel like I got a good answer for this. So you hit me with, you kept it light on me today, Jay. I appreciate it. Kept it light. My beliefs on marriage and my beliefs on, the creation of the universe. So the super short answer is I believe in a higher power, and I believe there's a creator, because no matter what you say, you can always say, but how did that happen? Oh, science. Who created that? Like something created something that created something that created something. There has to be
something.
Yeah, a higher power. Now, whether that, the higher power is that to me is not above. I mean, it's not a heaven and hell. I think it's all intertwined, right? I think it's all intertwined and inside of all of us. And there's exchange constantly of good and evil, and dark energy and light energy, and positive and negative, and we're all spreading and sharing that all the time amongst all of us, and I think it makes up the entire universe. The same elements are making up of everything, right? The same, the fact that like this is moving. This desk is moving right now, y'all. Like it's not even here. Like it's just moving.
Nick's tripping on acid. Nick did a bunch of acid before the episode.
That's just how atoms work. They're moving. So it doesn't make any sense, right? It's absolutely crazy. So I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in the better human you are, and the more that you offer and give and contribute, and the more you can stay in the light, the more you can provide the good energy and attract that and offer it. I think the better life that you live, and I think the more happiness you'll have and the more joy that you'll have. But I don't necessarily believe in Satan with a pitchfork and it's all hot and burning somewhere, and I don't know where we all go when it's all said and done, whether I could see a world of reincarnation. I can see a world of an otherly world, where our spirits go, right? So yeah, if I knew that answer, we sure as hell wouldn't be on this 20-minute showdown.
100%. So that's a relatively agnostic point of view.
Yeah. Okay. And I never thought it. I never labeled it. It's just, I think, my belief is actually kind of like, I think it was, oh, sorry, we got an alarm going off here. I think it was famous artist Pablo Picasso who said, he wants to become as wealthy as possible. It's not a direct quote. As wealthy as possible so he can spend the rest of his life living as if he's poor. And like, I know I've got to get another run completed and get way on the other side of wealth before I can dive real deep into this, because you will never see me again. Like, I will be just wandering the earth with a beard and a staff, and I don't know, I'm trying to like part seas. I don't know. Like, once I go down that rabbit hole of just reading everything and consuming everything, I think it would be the end of me as a leader of people, and it would just be me going just way introspective and searching for the meaning of life for the rest of my life. So I tend to pause that right now.
Yeah, I like that answer. I always wonder, because I see all of these hyper successful religious entrepreneurs. We're talking like Russell Brunson, Patrick Bet-David. Faith is a big part of what they do.
Absolutely.
And they always describe their faith in business as like a calling to do something, a calling to work hard, a calling to build something and leave a legacy. And I always wonder if it's like a religious superpower, like me having to self-motivate myself every day. It's a push, as opposed to God is telling me to do it. Like, maybe that's a secret weapon and motivation that the
well, Jay, that's a push versus a pull. That's a push versus a pull, right? And I absolutely feel pulled to do, and I feel pulled by that universal good versus evil, right? That universal, how do I, every person I touch, leave them in a better place? How do I, every person I come across, put a smile on their face or make an impact? Or how do I build things that create better lives for people? That's a pull versus a push. And, again, without definition, then I would say that I believe in that higher power, and that pulls me to go do amazing things. I don't sit there just with a push.
Cool. Well said. Thank you for the answer.
Where can everybody find you, and what should they be doing with you, brother?
Well, if you're on here, I guess you can already see I'm Dr. J Feldman on Instagram. I actually have a medical account and a marketing account. So if you're interested in marketing, CMO J Feldman, feel free to send me a DM. If you saw me here and you want to have a conversation, go a little bit deeper about any of these topics, I would be happy to. And thank you, everybody, for watching, for commenting. Looks like we got some really great feedback, got the numbers up a little bit. So thank you for having me, Nick. This was a blast.
This was amazing. Fantastic conversation. This one went deep. And Jay, I credit you for that. For asking fantastic questions. And guys, you can find me at www.nixlinktree. Make sure you add an S, nixlinktree.com. That'll lead you to everywhere and everything. Pick a thing. And I hope this has been useful for you guys. The reels are going to be even better. We did a 45-minute, 20-minute showdown. That makes us doubly talented as everybody else. So thank you, Jay. And guys, we're officially wrapped up. Have a great week.